watching GRTV, my favorite. Wahoo!
There's a couple of things that could be said about CCP, and it includes that you're not only, of course, that you're making a game about internet spaceships, which is serious business.
Very.
Every EVE player knows that that's serious business. But you're also not a stranger to controversy.
Nope.
And recently, well, there's been more controversy.
Yeah. So I assume you're talking about the CSM sort of uproar of that people felt we were ignoring the CSM requests. Absolutely, we've had some controversy on that. We've been trying to message to our players our viewpoint. We try to be as open and honest as we can. Sometimes honesty comes at a price. It is the brutal fact. So we basically gave them a list of all the developers working on EVE, what they were working on, broke it down into teams. We have teams basically working on features, and we told them these are the teams, this is what they're working on. And the players were unhappy with the resource allocation that we had shown in the project. What we have sort of taken away from this is a few things. Mostly the discontent was around having or not having enough focused resources on fixing fleet lag. And fixing fleet fight lag is not something, it's actually a contradiction in terms. It's not something you fix. You accommodate for a certain number of people for a smooth gaming experience, and once that is accomplished, they bring more people, and you have to like up the ante once again. So what we are doing right now is twofold. We're fixing problems that were introduced probably in the Dominion expansion, which are known problems that degraded performance on the cluster, and those are being fixed. We have a dedicated team of highly intelligent people, aliens, superior life forms, working on this right now. They're not aliens, they're just really smart engineers.
So just superior life forms.
Exactly. But we have a dedicated team of those working on fixing the sort of the problem areas that we know about, where we know there is an obvious bug somewhere or something that needs to be sort of fixed right now. Then on a separate track, we have people that are working on scaling up our cluster technology to accommodate for an ever-growing EVE player base as we have today. So starting out from a core of 30 to 40,000 subscribers in 2003, we now have 340,000 subscribers, and it takes different technical solutions basically to accommodate for a smooth playing experience. So we have people working on basically both areas of this.
But the problems that were brought up by this latest CSM, by people like Minxie of the Hellcats, who were the spokesperson for the CSM, and also the person with the impossible to pronounce EVE name, which was removed from the CSM. Are those problems that only the latest group of people reacted to, or was that stuff you even got from say Jade Constantine during the first CSM?
I think it wasn't so much about a specific feature or a specific problem. It was more about their questioning our prioritization of making new features versus iterating on older features. We have tried to make it abundantly clear that we are moving away from an era where we have introduced a lot of new features. We did so in Apocrypha, we have done so in Tyrannus, we did some of that in Dominion, where we introduced a whole host of completely new gameplay features to the game. What we're moving into now is an era of iteration and refactoring of older systems. We are gradually phasing out new feature development for iteration right now, and we will continue doing so into the next year, at which point we will sort of move completely over to iterating on older gameplay. And now iteration can mean both fixing what people consider buggy or broken gameplay, but it can also mean expanding on existing gameplay. So there are, I mean, a lot of the problems, I guess, stem from the fact that people feel older game systems abandoned, and that is something we are absolutely addressing.
But there was this number thrown around, which also got a lot of people upset, the 18-month time period. That some stuff would not be addressed until 18 months, yes, somewhere around after Incarnate, for example.
Sure. I have no idea where that number came from, honestly. I'm a bit flabbergasted. So we've already started phasing some of our development efforts, some of the Scrum teams, basically, into iteration on existing gameplay. Some of them are still absolutely working on Incarnate, but the majority of the teams working on the Incarnate, which is now in full production, are not what we would consider core EVE teams that would be creating core EVE features anyway. we have there is iteration going on right now on the planetary interaction system, for example. And moving forward, we are iterating on, for example, PvE. We are looking at using the solutions we are iterating with on PvE for use in factional warfare, for example. And there are multiple other teams basically working towards iterating on these older, bigger systems.
So let's move on to happier times, because of course EVE is still being developed all the time. How is Incarnate coming along?
So Incarnate, as I said, is being worked on by multiple teams at this moment. But most of those teams are actually sort of core technical teams. They are making the game engine for avatar movement and avatar gameplay. Also, there's a lot of avatar-specific artists working on this. And I would say that Incarnate is in full production right now. What we are doing is we are approaching Incarnate as we do with any other thing in EVE. We are creating a core mechanic that we can then later expand on and build on and continuously iterate on in the future. So there is no release date set yet, but it is sort of more information will be available within the next months on timelines for Incarnate.
Is it true that the Incarnate technology, a lot of it is being used for World of Darkness?
Well, like I said, it's a core technology of a basically graphics engine that accommodates for avatar-based gameplay. So it can be used in World of Darkness, it will be used in Incarnate, and it can be used in whatever other game. It is, you might think of it like the Unreal Engine. It is just something you can plug into an application, or you can plug applications on top of and have a completely separate game. It's just basic movement of avatars, pathfinding in environments, etc., that's being developed. But yes, it will benefit more projects at CCP than just EVE Online.
About it. But stuff like Incarnate, you know, there's always people in the community who doesn't really see the use at all in adding avatar-based gameplay to EVE Online, since we've been our ships for the last what is it now, 6 years?
7 years.
7 years. Oh God, I'm getting old.
I see where you're coming from with this. Incarnate, like many other new features we add into EVE, isn't necessarily being developed for the hardcore old audience that joined in 2003, 2004. Incarnate is more being seen as a new feature, a new functionality that will draw more new people into EVE. People that have not been able to identify with having a spaceship to fly with, but would rather want to identify with a character, a full body avatar, so to speak. So it will benefit current users, but we're not developing it solely for existing players.
What is it you said, bringing in new players? And one thing that also CCP have been working on many times during the history of EVE Online is the new player experience. What is it at the core of EVE that is so hard to introduce people to?
I think it is the sort of vastness and complexity of the space. You're basically in space, and you have these endless options to choose from. You can go down a path of being a mercenary, a soldier, a warrior, a miner, an industrialist, a researcher. I mean, the list goes on and on.
A very broke merchant?
An extremely broke merchant because you flew into a gate camp in your freighter. Not that that's ever happened in EVE, ever. Never
happened to me either. I just want to get that out there.
Probably, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no. We're not talking about that. Off camera. But it's hard to introduce to people such a complex and scattered world in a coherent way. You can't really go down a linear path of saying, first you try this, then you try this. What we have adopted is basically allowing people to dabble in a lot of things through the tutorial and through the new player experience, and then they themselves choose. Now, we could absolutely do a better job of like leading them into different paths, showing them the options available, and that's something we will be working on. But I think we can all agree that the new player experience has improved vastly since 2003, when you were plonked in a spaceship with nothing.
I have to agree with that. But you think Incarnate will help when it comes to introducing new players to EVE?
I think Incarnate will be something that sort of binds together the experience of having a sci-fi simulator, absolutely. It is no longer sort of cornered into being spaceships. It will feel more like a sci-fi experience than just a spaceship game.
I know you can't talk about it. I don't know if Eirik, my very steady cameraman back there, who's not at all about to collapse. We actually have World of Darkness sign over there. Let me ask a general question. How is work coming along in World of Darkness?
I what I've seen so far looks very good, but I haven't seen a lot simply because I'm focused very much on EVE Online, and the two projects are relatively separate in their development. So what I've seen is awesome, but I haven't seen a lot.
But what have you seen?
Awesome stuff.
Awesome.
Darkness.
A world of it?
In fact, a world full with darkness.